Eric, what's that you got on your shirt?
In the morning I dress the first thing I have.
So what is it? It's a
Sleepy snake.
Is that your friend? Is it your little friend David?
Oh dear. Something the cat dragged in, huh?
Oh my god, what is he doing?
Billy Cosmosis.
Hey Billy, can you tell us about technical stuff?
Technical stuff. Okay, so what do you want to know?
Your favorite plugin for bass?
Most of the time I use Zebra 2. I've got loads of bass patches I've made for it and I like the sound of it. And I'm very familiar with it. I also sometimes use Trillion.
Mm-hmm.
I've made a bunch of patches for that. But it needs a little bit more EQing than the Zebra. But it's excellent for bass, Trillion. So Trillion or Zebra, they're the two I use.
And for pads?
Pads, Zebra 2 and Omnisphere. Although Omnisphere I find is a bit of a option anxiety problem. Too many good sounds, and I spend an hour figuring out whether this pad sound is better than this one, or maybe this one, or maybe this one, or how about this one? So I generally tend to avoid it because it's a pain in the ass to choose because all the sounds are good. So I usually go for something where I know, that I can get good results and immediately tweak it if I want it.
Too much options.
Option anxiety.
Your favorite EQ?
Favorite EQ is Fab Filter. What's it called? Pro Q2. Much like yourself. It's got a really good interface, really easy to use, and you can full screen it if you want. You can get really precise, as many EQ points as you want. Excellent real-time analyzer. You can have real-time analyzer post and pre-EQ both displayed at the same time. So killer EQ plug. I don't really use anything else. Occasionally I do. Oh, I occasionally use something by Isotope, which is a dynamic EQ. And you can choose from another channel which frequencies to duck. It will show you. It's quite a clever thing. I can't remember the name of it now, but mainly it's Fab Filter Pro Q2.
Okay, speaking about dynamic, what is your favorite plugin for side chaining?
Side chaining would be Fab Filter Pro Comp 2.
Wow.
Is that what it's called? Pro Comp? Is that what it's called?
Pro C.
Pro C, exactly. Yeah, that one. That's the one I use. It's got a really good sidechain window. You can set up so you can have for example, the kick. If you're sidechaining the bass, you have a sidechain filter so that you can tune it to the frequencies of the kick drum. So it's really good for that.
Okay, your favorite delay?
Favorite delay? Bionic delay. Super easy to use, bionic delay, and you open it up, bang, it's pretty good out of the box. It doesn't have too many parameter ranges which you don't use. The filters are pretty much set right on the default, and it sounds great if you get into kind of constant feedback. It distorts in a pleasing analog type way. My other favourite one, am I allowed a second one?
Your second.
Yeah. Second favourite is Soundtoys. I can't remember what it's called. Soundtoys EQ. Delay. It's really good, but you can get loads of different sounds out of it. But the problem is it's got too many parameter choices. You can do anything with this thing. Make it sound reverb, all kinds of pinged delays, multi-taps and all that. But it's a bit too complicated. When I'm just working on a track, I want to pull up a delay, get it done. Don't want to have to bugger around. But it's a really good plug when I do use it.
Okay. Do you have a synthesizer currently in your studio? Hardware?
I do, yeah. It's called a deep bass, a Deep Mind
Mind.
12. Yeah. Yeah, Deep Mind 12. It's an analog, it's basically a Juno 106 clone, the architecture, except they've added another LFO, another 2 envelopes, and a whole bunch of new modulation destinations. Plus they've given it 12 voices instead of 6. And I like old Junos. I was very familiar with them from back in the old Goa trance days, so it's immediately familiar, and I kind of like that sound. It's got limitations. It's got a killer effects section, but it doesn't have, it's not multi-timbral, and it doesn't have a multi-mode filter. So it has limitations, but I kind of like that. It forces you to work inside a certain area. Yeah, so I use that sometimes. More often I use plugins.
Billy, something that is one of your biggest skills. Please tell us how to approach the dynamic of a track, of a world track.
Oh, you mean arrangement?
Exactly.
Yeah, this is really, really important, and not enough people pay enough attention to it, I think. You can take the same set of ideas, parts, and if you arrange them in this way, you can have a mediocre track, but if you arrange them in a better way, you can have a really good track. So a lot of it depends on the arrangement, assuming you've got some good parts.
And when is the point to leave it? And where is the point where do you consider that arrangement is already working right and you cannot squish more
juice out of it?
Exactly.
It's a difficult thing to judge, but I think lots of playing live goes into helping make that choice, because when I take tracks that I've finished and I play them on the dance floor, you can see immediately if something is 8 bars too long or a section is a bit too long. You can just watch the energy of the dance floor go down a little bit. People's attention starts to wander. I usually go back, chop 8 bars out here, add another little bit of the section there. So often my tracks go through a little bit of the kind of tweaking process from playing them actually out at a party.
Okay. Tell us about mixing, mastering. What is your rough? Because to play these tracks in your sets, you need to make a rough mastering. So, what tool do you use for mastering?
Mastering, I use Ozone. I have done
Which
for
version?
quite a few years, since Ozone 1 actually. The one I'm using at the moment is Ozone 8. It's a really good tool for mastering. I've done my own mastering since I released the track on Transient Records. I think it was in 2000 or 2001. And Transient sent it to a mastering house, and it came back and it went on a couple of compilations. Went on a German compilation, one of the big ones back in those days. And I listened to it and it was destroyed. They destroyed my music. It was distorted and over-compressed and crunched up. And from that moment I thought, well, bugger this. It's better to have everything in my control so I can give the finished track the way I want it and say, release that. That's how I want it to sound, not leaving that open to some twit to destroy. So, so I've been mastering my own stuff for a long time.
Okay, your favorite plugin synthesizer for leads?
Favourite plug-in synthesizer for leads? For acid style leads, it'd probably be, for proper 303 stuff, it would probably be, what's the yellow one called? ABL.
ABL
That's it. ABL
okay,
baseline.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great for 303. That's awesome. It is a 303 basically. And for other leads, I use Zebra for a lot of things. I occasionally use the Deep Mind 12 for more Go-ish sounding things. I've also recently got another Yuhi plugin, which is like an emulation of a Sequential Circuits Pro 1 monosynth, which is great for old Goa analog type filter freakouts, filter sweeps. Fantastic for that. It sounds exactly like one of the old machines, which is interesting.
And Billy, how to approach, in your case, how do you approach the kick bass?
How do I approach the kick bass? Well,
do you use kicks from libraries, or do you make your own kicks?
I've got my own library of kicks I've used over the years, and if a kick works in a track, use it again. Of course, if you put it in a new track in a different key, it might need to be tuned. I often tune kicks. I spend a lot of time tuning it to the right key that I'm working in, and I don't only tune it with a tune. I use a time stretching.
Your sequencer?
Yeah. So in live in Ableton, it's got this thing where you can make the length of it, change the length of it, or the pitch, but keep the length the same. So I tweak the tuning of my kicks. And I've got a whole bunch of kicks that I've used in loads of tracks that have worked really well on the dance floor, so I just use those. And I've loads of ones that I've made from the old days, which I sometimes use. But so I start out with a decent sounding kick, and then bring up the bass line and just get on with it. Sort out a side chain using Pro C, and yeah, like that. Oh, and EQ on the bass. I usually cut quite a dip on the lower mid range, and sometimes on the kind of mid range, to cut out the honkiness, make it more round sounding and have weight rather than be honky and mid-rangey. So it looks like this. Let me see on a graph. It goes. Hang on. This would be the bass end. No, this would be the bass end. So it kind of goes along like this, and then it'll have a dip like that. Quite a steep cut.
Okay. Billy, any tip that you suggest to your followers?
Get a proper job.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. Hit like, subscribe, yada yada, and the bell icon, because you'll be informed of any other videos that I make. Thanks, bye.